Have you ever stumbled across an image of a Greco-Roman statue against a neon grid with a pastel pink and blue sunset in the background? Or maybe you've heard a slowed-down, hazy version of a forgotten 80s pop song echoing through what sounds like an empty shopping mall. If any of this feels strangely familiar, you've encountered Vaporwave. But what exactly is it? Is it just a weird internet meme, a musical genre, or something more? Let's take a deep dive into the nostalgic, surreal, and often misunderstood world of Vaporwave. To understand Vaporwave, we have to go back to the early 2010s. The internet was a different place, a creative playground where new ideas could blossom overnight. It was in this digital petri dish that Vaporwave emerged, a microgenre of electronic music and an art style that felt both futuristic and ancient at the same time. The name itself is a play on vaporware, a term for tech products that are announced but never actually released. This concept of unfulfilled promises and phantom futures is central to the entire aesthetic. Musically, Vaporwave is all about sampling. Artists would take snippets of late 20th century music, think smooth jazz, elevator music, R&B, and even TV commercials from the 80s and 90s and then chop, screw, and loop them. They'd slow the tracks down, add heavy reverb and echo, and create a soundscape that feels dreamy, disorienting, and incredibly nostalgic. It's a sound that evokes a sense of manufactured happiness. A corporate-approved relaxation soundtrack for a world that never quite existed. One of the most influential albums that defined the genre is Floral Shop by an artist named Macintosh Plus, which is actually a pseudonym for Vectroid. Its most famous track, which you've almost certainly heard, heavily samples Diana Ross's It's Your Move, the album cover, featuring the head of a Helios statue against a black and white checkerboard floor and Japanese text, became the quintessential Vaporwave image. It perfectly captured the genre's obsession with classic, antiquity, early computer graphics, and a fascination with Japanese culture from the 80s economic boom. So why the specific combination of elements? Vaporwave is a critique, a parody, and a nostalgic embrace of consumer capitalism all at once. The 80s and 90s were a time of rapid technological advancement and global corporate expansion. Think of the rise of personal computers, the Walkman, massive shopping malls, and the global dominance of brands like Sony and Nintendo. Vaporwave takes the glossy, optimistic marketing of that era and recontextualizes it. By slowing it down and distorting it, it reveals an underlying emptiness and melancholy. The utopian promises of consumerism feel hollow, like a distant memory or a dream you can't quite hold onto. The aesthetic, often called aesthetics with a full-width font, is just as important as the music. Visually, Vaporwave is a collage of clashing ideas. You'll see those Roman busts, but also glitch art, early 3D rendered graphics, Windows 95 user interfaces, palm trees, and Japanese characters. The color palette is heavy on pinks, cyans, and purples, the colors of a digital sunset. These images create a feeling of being in a virtual space, a digital plaza that's both beautiful and eerily deserted. It's like walking through a virtual reality simulation of a past that has been idealized and then left to decay. Let's talk about the Japanese influence. In the 1980s, Japan was an economic powerhouse, and its technology and culture were being exported globally. For kids growing up in the West, Japanese video games, anime, and tech gadgets were the coolest things around. Vaporwave taps into this Western nostalgia for a hypermodern, technologically advanced vision of Japan from that time. The use of Japanese text, often without regard for its actual meaning, adds to the exotic, otherworldly feel. It's not about Japan as a real place, but Japan as a symbol of a sleek, corporate future. Over the years, Vaporwave has splintered into dozens of subgenres, each exploring a different facet of the core idea. There's Malsoft, which uses heavy reverb to replicate the ambient sounds of a vast, empty shopping mall, a truly haunting experience. There's Future Funk, which is more upbeat and danceable, taking 70s and 80s Japanese city pop and chopping it into high-energy disco tracks. You also have Vapor Trap, which blends the dreamy soundscapes of Vaporwave with the rhythmic structures of trap music. And there's Hard Vapor, a darker, more aggressive take on the genre that critiques not just capitalism, but Vaporwave itself for becoming too soft and commercialized. But isn't there a contradiction here? A genre that critiques consumer culture has become, in itself, a consumable product. You can buy Vaporwave-themed t-shirts, phone cases, and posters. The aesthetic has been co-opted by mainstream artists and advertisers. You can see its influence in music videos by major pop stars and in ad campaigns for global brands. Does this mean Vaporwave has failed? Not necessarily. Some would argue this is the ultimate, final joke. The anti-consumerist art movement has been consumed, packaged, and sold back to us, proving its own point about the all-encompassing nature of capitalism. It's a snake eating its own tail, a perfect, ironic loop. So, is Vaporwave dead? The initial explosion from the early 2010s has certainly calmed down. The genre isn't the mysterious, underground phenomenon it once was, but its influence is everywhere. The core idea is the nostalgia for a digital past, the critique of consumerism, the blending of high and low culture have seeped into the very fabric of internet creativity. It taught a generation of artists to look at the cultural debris of the recent past not as junk, but as raw material for creating something new. Something that could be both deeply ironic and genuinely beautiful. It's a ghost in the machine of our modern culture, a slowed-down echo reminding us of the utopian dreams of yesterday and the strange, virtual world we live in today. Vaporwave showed us that nostalgia is a powerful, complex emotion. It's not just a warm, fuzzy feeling for the good old days. It can also be a sense of loss for futures that never came to be, a yearning for a manufactured sense of comfort. It's the feeling of walking through a digital ruin, a beautiful, glitchy, and ultimately hollow monument to a bygone era. And even if the main wave has passed, its ripples continue to spread. The next time you see a sad-looking Greek statue in a sea of pink and blue, you'll know you're not just looking at a weird picture, you're looking at the legacy of one of the internet's most fascinating and thought-provoking artistic movements. Thanks for watching and taking this journey into the digital dreamscape with me. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into internet culture. See you in the next one.